everyone. And again, don't get shocked. Don't get mad at me because it's only 43 days. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching, listening, tuning in from. That's what we used to say in the old days of radio, tuning in from. But I'm just talking to my Extraordinary Women Facebook group and my TikTok community about how right around the corner the end of the year is. 43 days until the end of the year. How did that happen? And I was sharing that I read some research one time where it says that as you get older, that time flies faster. Is that true? Has anyone had that experience that, or believes that, or read any research about that? That as you get older, the time just goes faster and faster. So, good morning, LinkedIn family, IG, Facebook, YouTube, everyone who's out there. And of course, we have our TikTok family. Hi, Shamika. How are you? How you doing? Princess and Christmas. Now, see, Christmas just joined. And, we were talking Christmas about how close Christmas is. Right around the corner, 43 days till the end of the year. How are you? Welcome. It's so good to see you. And Extraordinary Women influencers and everyone who's here today. Thank you for spending some time this morning or afternoon or evening. I want to say hello to all of you on the replay as well. I'm delighted that you're here. So whatever time it is that you're joining, I want to say a welcome and thank you. And want you to know that drift costs you, design grows you. Now you saying, Dr. Geneva, what you talking about? What you going to be talking about today? I'm going to be talking about how you don't want to drift into 2026. You don't want to be uncertain. You want to have some clarity, because when you have that clarity, then you can move forward in all the things that you desire and dream when you clear. But when you drifting and uncertain, those things get confused. So I'm gonna break that down for you today. And our theme is drift cost you, design grows you. And it's all based upon the belief, the concept, the philosophy that you, in fact, can design your own life, and that we do have control of our lives, and we can, in fact, can be the creators of our own lives. So that's what, hey, MB, how you doing? Good to see you. And Loss and Big Wave and CK and everyone else who's here with us today. Now, before I get into today's teaching, I do want to put something on your radar, because it really will connect directly to what we're talking about today. I created a strategic planning experience for women of influence over 50 who really are done dragging uncertainty into a new year. So if that's you, the QR code will be on the screen and the link is in the chat. You will know quickly if it's for you. And so my entire career has been built on designing clarity for cities, for organizations, for boards, for leaders who need a direction fast. past. I helped mayors and governors build education reform. I raised over $120 million for causes that required partnerships with people who had conflicting priorities. And I designed clarity in rooms where uncertainty could cost millions or derail entire initiatives. But here's the part we do not talk about enough. Um, Women like us rarely give ourselves, hear me now, women like us rarely give ourselves that same level of strategic attention. We solve crises, we build institutions, we steady the room, we raise great children. We do our thing with raising families. But when it comes to our own next chapter, our own thing, we under strategize our own lives. And that's why I created the 2026 Launch Blueprint. It's a small group live planning experience where accomplished women 50 plus design their 2026 with intention, structure, and community. You walk out with a one-page blueprint and a 90-day plan you can trust. It's in 4 sessions, 20 seats. When the seats are filled, enrollment closes. So the link is in the chat. And so I want you to know that. Now, I want to talk about what uncertainty actually cost you, because the fog has real tangible consequences. You all sometimes feel like you're in a fog. I know I have many times this fog. And I want you to know it's not just feeling off or out of sync a little. It shows up in actual behavior and outcomes you can point to. I want to tell you that every woman I work with experiences something that I call this fog. And so you might ask me, well, Dr. Geneva, what you talking about? And if you, first of all, before I tell you exactly what I'm talking about, put a 1 in the chat if you know already what I'm talking about. That is, that you feel foggy sometimes. Well, here's what the fog really is: uncertainty. You can't see the next direction, so every choice feels heavier than it should. It feels like second guessing. You question instincts you've built really over decades. Outdated internal narratives, stories you tell yourselves, the quiet whispers that maybe it's too late, or maybe your best years are behind you. It feels like invisibility creep, the sense that people see past you, not your future, like, but they see past you, and like your best work is already behind you. This fog, this foggy feeling, it shows up as feeling invisible, even with a lifetime of credibility behind you. It shows up as loneliness at the top, when you are still expected, when you running things and you expected to have all the answers, but you have no one pouring into you. It shows up in pressure that every decision now feels like it has higher stakes than it used to. There's also this quiet loss that many women in their 50s, 60s, 70s carry at this stage. Um, it's not sadness, but it's a recognition that the version of yourself you spent 30 years plus building does not match where you are headed next or where you want to be next. Now, that gap, here's what I want to tell you, that is not a crisis. That's a redesign opportunity. And most women, however, try to navigate that without a plan. Now, I know this because I've lived through it myself. I remember when I launched a national collaboration model years ago. It was nothing but a concept and a huge expectation that I would raise all this money and build these partnerships. Now, I want to tell you, I spent hours in my office at my dining room table with legal pads spread everywhere, right, mapping out plans for everyone else's success, for the success of this organization, for the success of the board, for the success of the funders who gave the money to support it. My work had all this direction laid out. My life did not. But see, I was not out of sync. I want you to hear that. I was not lost. I was simply caring too much and giving my best clarity to everyone and everything else. Many women do the same, thing without ever naming it. And so, in other words, without a direction statement, all your good ideas and your ambitions just float around with nowhere to go. The direction statement, having a direction, can give your ideas a home. That is why one of the first things we do inside of the blueprint I was telling you about is to clarify your 2026 direction statement. Not a wish list, not a theme word, a single sentence or two that tells you exactly where you are going and why it matters. And so when opportunities come, you know which ones fit and which ones do not. So, in thinking about this, here's the limiting belief we need to release. Are y'all with me so far? If you're hearing what I'm saying about how sometimes we're, in this fog and we don't take enough time to think about ourselves, find our own direction, and be clear. If you have experienced that, drop a one in the chat. Let me know that this is making sense to you. Yes, I'm seeing them ones coming in. Okay. All right. And let me say again, let me stop and just say good morning to everyone who's joined. I see you all, Battle and April and MGK and Mary and Extraordinary Women Influencers. I see you, everyone on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, IG, Joy Adams, Mike, how you doing? Tyson, right time now. 66, wait a minute, and 60 Sexy Cool is on. All right. Oh, go ahead. Staged by Doreen and Winfrey. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I just wanted to say good morning again. Stop and just say that. Hello, Chris. Yes, I saw you join Blueprint. Thank you so much. Chris just said she joined, she just enrolled. Thank you so much. It's going to be a fantastic experience. Okay. All right. So I was just getting ready to talk about some limiting beliefs that are very important for us to release. Okay. Women like us are not confused. We are not disorganized. We are not lacking systems. In fact, we've spent decades creating plans, strategies, and solutions that keep entire organizations and families running. The problem is not that you do not know how to plan. The problem is that you have never been taught to treat your own thing, your own next chapter, with the same level of priority you give to everyone else. All right. If you know what I'm saying, put a yes in the chat. So your career got a plan. Your organization got a plan. Your team got a plan. But your life does not have a clearly defined next direction. And you see, when that happens, hear me now, when that happens, even the most accomplished women feel uncertain. Okay? A second belief we need to break is the idea that this fog that I talked about is temporary. Okay? Many women think clarity will show up when life slow down. But life does not slow down. And urgency without direction does not create clarity. It creates pressure. And pressure is not a plan. Okay, you with me? So I want to talk about what this actually cost you, this uncertainty, this lack of direction for yourself. But again, you ain't at fault. You're not to blame. You ain't lost. This is a redesign opportunity for you that I want you to understand, to see, to grab. Okay? And I want you to hear what I'm saying so that you can see that. But let's talk about what the costs are of staying in this place, of drifting. And you know what we say our theme is? Okay? You know, drifting costs us, design grows us. Okay? So here's some of the cost of staying uncertain, not being uncertain, but staying uncertain. Being uncertain is natural. We already talked about that. Staying uncertain. Cost number one is lost momentum. Okay. So when you don't have the clear direction, you stay busy, but nothing really moves forward. Your calendar is full, but you really can't point to real progress. You debate the same decisions over and over and over again because you really don't have a filter for what matters. 6 months goes by, then a year, and you look back and realize you spent all that time treading water. Now, listen to me, that's not laziness. That's what happens when capable women don't have a clear destination. Energy goes everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And so, but inside the blueprint, we build your 90-day execution map so your energy has somewhere specific to go. Now, the second cost that staying uncertain and not having that direction is shrinking visibility. When you're unclear about your direction, you really go quiet. You stop, if you post on LinkedIn, you really kind of stop. You stop speaking up in meetings. You really stop putting yourself forward for opportunities. And you you find yourself telling yourself, well, I'm being strategic. I used to say that all the time. I'm being strategic. I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm getting my ducks in a row. Okay. I've been there, been there. But here's what's really happening. What happens when you do that? People forget you still in the game. They assume you're stepping back. They stop thinking of you when opportunities come up. Mm-hmm. I've been there. And the longer you stay quiet, the harder it is to come back. See, visibility isn't something you earn once and keep forever. It's something you got to constantly practice. And when you stop practicing, um, people really stop seeing you as relevant. Somebody with a future, somebody they want to have in the mix, somebody they want to have in the room, someone they want to hear from. Now, when you're in the blueprint cohort, we map your 90-day visibility plan first. So you know exactly where to show up and what to say so that you can keep being relevant and fresh and up to date and vibrantly visible. Okay. So, cost number three of staying uncertain, without direction, is really diminished confidence. Now, this one sometimes is the hardest to name because it happens so slowly, you don't notice it. You really don't notice it. Now, your skills haven't changed, your capabilities haven't changed, but your confidence starts to fade because you just can't see where you're going. You second guess decisions you would have made instantly 5 years ago. Mhm. You overthink opportunities that should be obvious yeses. You start wondering if maybe you really are past your prime. Huh. If anybody's relating to this, just say yes. Okay. That voice in your head gets louder. The one that says, maybe it is too late. Maybe you missed your window. Maybe your best work really is behind you. I went through all of this when I was delaying and uncertain about whether to leap into to go on and fulfill a lifelong dream of starting my own business. And even though I was in my late 60s, I had had this dream for a long, long time. But as I got close, I got more uncertain about it. I really was. And a lot of self doubt was creeping in. And I didn't have that confidence. And then I discovered that those voices, maybe it's too late. Maybe you need to go sit down. Maybe you're too old. Hey, I discovered none of that is true. It's not true. And I went ahead and made the leap. But without clear direction, desire, those wants, has nowhere to go. So it turns inward and becomes doubt. And that's one of the reasons why I created this blueprint, because it gives you what you rarely give yourself: a container, a commitment, a reason that's bigger than your own internal motivation. Do you understand what I'm saying? It gives you a place to go, um, to be with like-minded folk, uh, to think about how you can, in fact, prioritize your own decisions. It makes doing that prioritization of your own direction as important as everyone else's plans that you've been mapping out for decades. So here is what I want you, if anything, to take from this conversation. Uncertainty does not just cost time, it costs identity, it costs visibility, it costs the energy required to reinvent. Women at our stage want meaningful work, autonomy, impact, visibility, connection, and joy. But none of that is possible without direction, without that clarity. You do not drift into a life of impact, you design it. So now I want to quickly walk you through what's inside this blueprint, but I want to name something else you may feel but rarely say or talk about. Because you see, you have been the one who knows, the one who solves, the one who steadies the room. But it's exhausting to always be her, ain't it? It is lonely to carry responsibility without having no place to land. And here's what I know after many, many years of leading organizations, initiatives, creating impact, raising millions of dollars, that you absolutely can create a plan on your own. You have the skills, you have the experience. You could sit down this weekend with a notebook and map out your 2026. You can do it, but you won't. Not because you are not capable, because no one is holding the space. No one is asking those hard questions. No one is watching you, supporting you, commit. So before I talk about the blueprint, I want you to give you 3 questions that every woman planning their 2026 needs to answer. And you can work on these alone, on your own. Please do. You can bring them to the blueprint if you decide to join us. Either way, whatever you do, I want you to hold on and write down these questions and be asking them of yourself. What do you want that has nothing to do with what people need from you? That's the first question. Not what your organization needs, not what your family expects, not what looks good on social media. What do you want? Is it autonomy, flexibility to work when and how you choose, time to finally build something that's yours? Many women have spent decades answering everyone else's questions. This is the one that matters most for you. Okay, so you got that question number one. Question number two. If money was handled, what work would you still choose to do? Now, this is not about retirement. This is about purpose. Did you know that 86% of women executives say they feel more ambitious now than 5 years ago? But that ambition looks different for women over 50. For us in our 50s, 60s, 70s, it's really less about titles and more about impact, less about proving and more about legacy. So if the financial pressure is lifted, what would you build? Who would you serve? What problem would you solve? So that's question number two. And then question number three, this is one of my favorites. I kind of like these questions, but this is like one of my favorites. Question number three, that I want you to go somewhere and ask yourself, really spend some time thinking about, what are you done tolerating? Okay. Done working with people who do not value your expertise. Done shrinking to make others uncomfortable. Done accepting opportunities that drain you instead of fuel you. Done of being a people pleaser. Women at our stage, we're not declining, we're refining. We want to know and be clear about what we want and what we're finally ready to say, what we don't want. So, with these three questions, they're going to tell you if 2026 is a year you drift through or a year you design. Okay. And if you want a structure to answer those questions, if you want a trusted advisor who's been through multiple reinventions herself, if you want a community at your level of thinking, if you want a plan you can trust instead of just another list of intentions or New Year's resolutions, that is exactly what the blueprint is going to give you. So I've spent over 40 years helping leaders design clarity in high stakes environments. I've been through major reinventions myself in my mid 50s and my late 60s, even now in my 70s. I know what it takes to rebuild when everything shifts. I know what works and what does not. And I built this blueprint experience because women like us deserve the same strategic rigor we give to everyone and everything else. Okay? Now, so I'm going to show you what happens inside these sessions so that you'll know exactly what you'll work with, what you're going to work with. And this is a strategic foundation for your 2026 year that will give you the clarity and momentum and direction that you can build on all year. So first, we'll create in session one vision, and I like to call it vision with teeth. Okay. You replace uncertainty with a vibrant picture of what you want and why. And this is different than the vision board, which I love. I love doing vision boards, and you put the images there and you clip magazines and all of that. That's good. But this is with teeth because this vibrant vision is not a wish or a fancy image. not themes. It's really, we actually work on a directional statements that you would present to yourself, or many of you have presented to a board if you're leaders. But you know, that same clarity that you use when you're standing in front of others to present a vision, it's the same thing. It's the same vision that I would present to mayors and governors and executives and community folk, and tell them what we were building and why it mattered. So it's a vision with teeth. And then next in section 2, the whole aspect of goals that match your operating system. And what that means is choosing goals that match your values. We don't spend a lot of time talking about, well, what's important to me now? What mattered to us when we was in our 20s and 30s and 40s, it'd be different now in your 50s and 60s. And spending the time to actually say, well, what's important to me now? And how can I also protect my well-being and move my life forward? And that's a different goal setting process. And it's just really different. And it's not at somebody else's pace. It's not somebody else's definition of success. It's really yours. And so designing goals in this way, and it's really the way I design partnerships and helped align and sustain initiatives that were built to last. So it's a different twist on what is typically goal setting. And then we'll actually put together your 90-day execution map in session 3, where your goals become weekly actions that are realistic for your life and your pace and that aren't overwhelming. And this is the same structure and process that I've used to help build initiatives and work with women throughout the year so that they can develop their sustainable, lasting plans. I was just talking to one woman who I'd worked through this process that I usually do one-to-one. And this is the first time that I'm offering it as a group, small group experience. And this high-powered executive was telling me that we put together her plan, her actual map, and she took it in to her meetings that next week, and she followed her plan, and she called me to share with me how great she felt, and she had really felt that she was moving forward on what she had decided to do. And so we put together that map, that how you're going to execute. And then in the last session, you will have your blueprint. You will finalize, and we'll put it on a one-page plan and structure so you can walk into 2026 knowing exactly what matters and where to start. And this is the kind of clarity document you can reference all year. It's like your compass. And this is not resolutions, those things that we start talking about and we're going to do in January, and by February, they kind of fade out. And so this was the system I built after realizing I was better designing direction for cities and governors than I was at designing it for myself. And that forced me to create a planning process that matched the stakes I was used to working at. Not vibes, again, not vision boards, but strategic planning that I could execute on. And that's the system that today has become the blueprint, and that I do one-to-one, but now I'm offering as a small group session. Now, Let me tell you, some of you are thinking right now, I do not need a workshop to plan my year. And you know, you're right. You do not. But here is what you do need. You do need someone outside your own head asking you the questions you will not ask yourself. You need a deadline that is not negotiable. You need other women in your space who understand what it is, what it costs to carry everything and still have to show up ready to lead. And most of all, you need permission to put your own planning first. Not after the team meeting, not after the board retreat, not after everybody's gone to bed, not after everyone else's needs are handled. First, put your needs first. You need someone who's already been in the fog and knows the way out. I've worked with women who run entire divisions, women who manage multi-million-dollar budgets, women who've raised their children, buried parents, have navigated divorce and loss, and still keep organizations running. Every single one of them could sit down and create their own plan, but they do not, because there is always something more urgent, because their own direction can always wait. Just one more week, give me one more week, because no one is holding them accountable except themselves. And that is one of the weakest accountability there is. By yourself only. So this blueprint is not about information. You do not need more information. You need implementation. You need accountability. You need a structure that makes your own future as important as everyone else's you've been managing for decades. So this is the truth here. You're standing at a choice point right now. So you can leave this live. All my friends over there on TikTok, Extraordinary Women Influencers, you can leave this live now and go back to your calendar if you want. You can go back to that team meeting, and you could go back to your board prep or finish what you're doing for the grandchildren. Back to managing everyone else's priorities while your own direction waits one more week. Or you can decide that, hey, 2026 is the year that I'm going to put myself first on my agenda. So it's small, 20 seats. You walk away with a 90-day plan you can actually execute, and you'll be with a community of women who understand what it costs to lead at this point in our lives. So I want you to know, whatever decision you make, that uncertainty costs you. And so I don't want you to be uncertain. I want you to, what was our theme? Drift cost you, design grows you. So I want us to grow and be everything we can be. And if you are the kind of woman who knows when it's time to move, you know that this is that time. So that's my lesson for today. And you know, I see all these questions coming in, and then I say my producer's usual. Um, uh, and yes, And so I want you to know, yes, we have this question. Yes, that's right. And so we have this question about, please let us know again what the value is in midlife. Women in midlife do tell me the same thing over and over again, that they just need this space where they can think out loud. You know what I'm saying? With women who understand their life experience. And so that's one of the things that I used to hear all the time when I was doing these sessions one on one and helping women design their plan. They loved it, but they also did say, hey, I'd love to have that kind of space. So that's why I created it. It's intentionally small. Every voice matters. Every story matters. And you deserve a space that's big enough for your truth, but intimate enough for the real kind of transformation that you want and is possible. So that's why that experience I've created. And hey, House of Health and Therapy United. Um, okay, so hey, Kimberly, doing? Oh my gosh, so good to see you. And I see all of our friends on TikTok and over there on YouTube, etc. So let's see if there are any questions, quick questions, because I see we're coming into short time here. It's one question. Um, let's do, what if I can't picture my next chapter yet? That's a great question. And that's, again, talked about that. That's part of that fog, that you just really can't see it all right now. But that's your signal that you're ready, that is coming. That is not, don't be blaming yourself if you can't see it right now. That happens. That's what we all go through. Not only are we going through these mental and social changes when we get into our 50s and 60s, but we also are going through the physical changes as well. Most of us, many of us, are in perimenopause or menopause. It affects every woman at some time in her life. So there's lots of things contributing to that fog, and you don't see that clarity. So, not knowing what you want next is very natural. That's one of the reasons that I created a space for you to find out or begin to at least identify the options for you, because you do want to step forward. You do want to get out of the fog, right? There's an assumption that you don't want to stay in that fog. So even though you can't figure it out right now, or you're not too sure right now, we're assuming you don't want to stay there. Okay. So that the question is, okay, so how can I move forward? What are some of the steps that I can take? And having, being in an experience in a small group, in a container, where you can figure that out on your own and get support at the same time, is something that's, very valuable. So it's okay if you don't have it figured out. Okay. All right, folks. So I want you to know, remember, it's 43 days till the end of the year. 2026 going to be here like that, like in a moment. And we want to be ready for it. I'm going to see you next week at same time, same place. If there are some uh, particular topics you want me to talk about. Now I'm gonna be on this one about your game plan, your next steps for 2026. You know I'm gonna be talking about that now. I'm just going to do that. And, again, the women that I work with all tell me one way or another, they say the same thing over and over again. They just need a space where they can think out loud and be safe, and get feedback that they can trust and work with, etc. Um, Women who are having the same life experience. And so that's why this small group experience is here for you. So I'm going to be talking about um, the kinds of steps and things that you can do to be successful, to continue your success in 2026. I wish all of you the best, the best, the best. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, IG, Extraordinary Women Influencers, TikTok, Jessica, Christine, Pamela, Dean, all of you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love it. See you soon.